A gambling addict never processes their actions rationally. Losing money is just the consequence of feeding their addiction. Once in debt, they may suffer with depression, anxiety, and serious mental health problems. But even if you remove the debt factor, a gambling addict will still experience feelings of worthlessness, failure, and self-loathing. They lose touch with reality and become emotionally disconnected from the world. Gambling addicts feel this is self-inflicted, which compounds their issues and increases their self-hatred. They'll convince themselves they deserve nothing in this world. This explains why many turn to suicide like it's the only way out. It's a complex illness and hugely misunderstood in today's society. During this global pandemic, it will only get worse if betting companies ignore this addiction in their pursuit of money and greed. Let's not gamble with any more lives.
My name is Matt Zarb-Cousin. I was the spokesperson for the campaign for Fair Gambling, and we lobbied successfully for a reduction in the maximum stake from £100 down to £2 a spin. Fixed odds betting terminals were described as the crack cocaine of gambling. They were accessible in every betting shop. Each betting shop had 4 machines, and you could bet up to £100 every 20 seconds on really, really addictive casino content like roulette, and that was the most popular game. And what we found was, in the course of campaigning, that we had to demonstrate that the product, gambling activity, was very, very influential and impacted on the levels of gambling harm. Problem gambling is not just about the individual, it's about the product and the environment and the accessibility of those products as well.
My name is Dr. Henrietta Bowden-Jones. I'm a consultant psychiatrist specialized in addictions and in particular in behavioral addictions. 12 years ago, I started the National Problem Gambling Clinic. It was a project that was led out of research I did in a neuroscience doctorate at Imperial College, looking at specifically some parts of the brain and how, when they are impaired, they do not allow people to postpone gratification well enough to prevent misusing drugs or alcohol. And I became interested in the extension to gambling that this could be causing this impairment.
My name's Danny, and I used to have a big problem with gambling. I used to have this issue where if I got money in the bank, I'd always find a way to gamble. Whether it was 4 o'clock in the morning and I was betting on football teams on the other side of the world, 7 o'clock in the morning when the bookies used to open, I'd find myself in FOBTs. Sat at my desk at work all day, I'd find myself spinning slot machines. If I had money there that I had access to, I used to not be able to control my gambling with it. I'd find a way to end up losing all of it. I'd sometimes get a big win, but it'd never be enough. I'd find myself continuously spinning and spinning and spinning until I had no money left. And I found myself taking out more loans, more debt, just ways to get through each month. And every time I'd get access to that money that I'd borrowed, I'd find a way to gamble it. It was a vicious circle that I just couldn't break out of.
Hi, my name's Chris Gillam. I'm a compulsive gambler in recovery. I had my last bet on the 29th of October 2017. A day my life changed really, and changed for the better. I was 35 when I placed that last bet during the night time on an online casino where I spent money that was for building works in my house, which was my own money, my family's money, and chasing that, I then took the biggest loan a bank would give me, which was £25,000, and then I spent that over the next few hours, £22,000 of that deposited into an online casino in 2 hours and 11 minutes. Absolutely horrific. I was in a place where I was trying to end my life, but I felt I needed to win money for my family before I left this world. Thank God I didn't win. Really, I wouldn't be here now.
Betting advertisements are very prominent across television, radio, and particularly social media. For many who are vulnerable and struggle with a gambling addiction, These advertisements can be extremely damaging during a self-isolated environment.
If you think about it, gambling disorder affects less than 1% of the population. But for that 1%, and those are the people we see every day, gambling adverts are disastrous, because any image or sound that reminds people of gambling can lead people to relapse, can make it impossible for them to stick to their treatment plans, and therefore it can destroy all the work we have done.
My name's Martin. I'm here to talk about adverts, especially gambling adverts. I don't know if you have noticed over the last couple of weeks they've spiked right up. I counted the other day there, 35 breaks between 9 in the morning and the 6 o'clock news, and we had 44 gambling adverts. Gala Bingo, Jackpot Joy, UK Lottery, slots, casino, they were all there, postcode lotteries, everybody was out in force. Apparently they were supposed to lift the adverts around about this time, and they're still slipping them out all across all media, radio, TV, Facebook, Twitter. Pinpointed, accurate targeting to the vulnerable in society, especially in this lockdown.
In the UK especially, I think we have this big problem with the culture around gambling and the way we normalise it so much. If you watch TV, nearly every ad break is related to gambling. We have a safer gambling message that says, when the fun stops, stop. It's like the way we emphasise the word fun. We seem to want to encourage that gambling is a social, fun, entertainment aspect. People really do miss out that gambling is addictive.
I also believe that gambling adverts can be very toxic to young people who are more impulsive and who may not be aware of how easy it is to lose money on gambling, lose their hard-earned savings. And I come across quite a few young men and women who have lost years of savings in just a few weeks. The other people who are very vulnerable are the older population, who are just more impulsive or more desperate financially, and they too will be given a free spin or a bit of money offered by the gambling industry to start betting. They'll have a go, and then they'll chase their losses. And chasing one's losses is something that not everyone does, but we know that the people who are vulnerable to the disorder will be tempted by chasing the losses, and that means they'll stay at the game, the equivalent of staying at the table in a casino, even after they've lost everything, in order to try and regain it. And of course they don't.
With all betting shops throughout the nation having to close due to lockdown, their only source of income is from the online market, the most dangerous market of all. Online gambling is a place where individuals can lose thousands of pounds in just a matter of seconds. With no supervision or control, how can we protect those who are most in need?
So the new campaign that I'm involved with, Clean Up Gambling, actually commissioned some research recently into the impact of the lockdown on people's gambling behaviour. And what we found is that 64% are gambling at least as much as before. And that's particularly concerning given there's no racing or sports fixtures. And it's concerning because that means that they're more likely to be gambling on slots or casino content. And it's those gambling products that have the higher rate of addiction and harm associated with them.
I have a big problem with the way we do the responsible gambling message as well, because we have this thing where we make it all up to the person to be in control. So you have to self-exclude, you have to set your own limits, you have to do all of these steps if you feel like you've got a problem. But if you've got a problem, you feel like you've gone past that point, and to tell someone that you've now lost all of your inheritance, all of your wages, all of this money, and you've now got to stop yourself from going on that site again, where that site that's took all of that money and could be your gateway to get that money back, is dangerous. Operators can see if someone's spending a large amount of money. They have the power to step in earlier. It should be more about dual accountability. It shouldn't be a stigma for an operator to also turn around to a player and going, sorry, you've lost all of your money, we can see you've got a problem. Here's your max stake, here's your max deposit. Why do they need to keep being vultures and want to keep taking more and more money off people when the majority of their profit is coming from people with a problem?
I found sports betting first of all. I found bookmakers. I later found casinos. And then the online casinos they were the worst. They kept coming back, and I could lose myself in my own mind, in my own house where my family were there. My family were asleep. My family were awake even. I could sit in the bath and gamble. I could go to my bedroom and gamble. I could sit in the same room as them and they wouldn't know, and I would gamble and lose money to try and make myself, I don't know, just not even feel better, but just to get away from the horrendous thoughts in my head. Now I speak freely with others. I help others through their issues, and they help me through mine. And I live a peaceful, happy life, and it's wonderful. And I spend a lot of time with my family. And it was that time that I lost with my family before, which really hurt me. It's not the financial damage, it's the time I lost.
And if anybody is struggling out there, wondering if they have a problem or they can see themselves slipping down the road, it's not all your own fault. These products are designed for addiction. So it's certainly not all your own fault. Seek help. Speak to somebody. There's plenty of phone numbers. There's plenty of people about on Facebook, Twitter. Gamblers Anonymous is a great place to go to talk to people who understand.
Those currently in isolation will be finding this difficult, and I hope they reach out for help. We're all there to help them. Thank you.
Gambling is meant to be seen as fun, an activity of leisure, or a form of entertainment. For problem gamblers, this is not the case. For many, gambling is all they know, and whilst in lockdown, it may be hard to escape. However, there are applications out there that will restrict all forms of online gambling. There are online groups and associations that will provide help and support. There are others who have experienced what you may be experiencing right now. Just remember, you are not on your own. It is clear that gambling will never be prohibited. However, it is now time to regulate it efficiently and provide an appropriate legislation in order to stop any more suffering that is associated with the addiction. Let's not gamble with lives anymore.